This episode of the Towing Life podcast is sponsored by Strong Arm Recovery. Strong Arm Recovery provides you with a professional towing service that treats your investment like it's their own. With locations in Ottawa, Ontario and Calgary, Alberta, and a full fleet of heavy and light service vehicles, they are guaranteed to meet your towing needs. You can visit strongarm-group.com for more information. Once again, that's strongarm-group.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I am your host, Towman G, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the one chain wonder himself, Mr. Plain Guy.
How are you doing today, G? How are you?
Oh, you know, living the dream, someone's nightmare, you know, the spiel.
Absolutely. Well, we have a full show booked for today. Before we get into that, though, as usual, we want to mention, guys, if you have any subjects or questions you would like covered on the show, you can let us know by emailing us at thetowinglife@gmail.com or by searching at the Towing Life podcast on Facebook or by commenting if you're watching over on YouTube. Any of those ways, your input and or experiences are always welcome. They are always welcome. So to get started today, guys, I want to get into a bit of some sad news, and use it as a learning curve. So, news article out of Toronto. Ontario provincial police say that a female pedestrian was struck and killed while she was trying to jumpstart a car on Highway 401 near Whitby early Wednesday morning. It happened in the eastbound lanes of the highway near Mill Street in Clarington at approximately 12:10 a.m. OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt said in a video posted on Twitter. At the time, a male and female occupant were outside of a disabled Ford Mustang, which was stopped on the left shoulder of the highway and attempted to boost the vehicle. Schmidt said the female was standing in a live lane of traffic when she was struck by at least one or more vehicles. Now, that's a sad day, right? Obviously, you know, that is a tragedy. We have sympathy. We pass our condolences on to not only the family of the victim, but the drivers that, drivers that would have struck this woman, because that is not an easy thing to deal with. Here is my problem. The vehicle is stopped in the left lane of the highway, or I believe on the left shoulder.
Which is a bad spot to stop in the first place.
You never want to be on the left side of any highway, let alone a 400 highway through that section, which, if I'm not mistaken, through that Clarington Way, Whitby Way, there's a lot of concrete wall. I'm not sure what they had for shoulder. But as much as I feel for the family of the victim and those involved, this is a moment to raise awareness. And that is for how many customers do we run into, G, that, I was driving down the road, my battery light came on, so I just need a boost. My car died. We've talked about this before, right? Your battery light when driving does not mean that you need a boost. It means that there is something wrong with the charging system on the car. That kind of awareness to the public could have avoided this tragedy, right? How do we go, guys? As operators, our job is to push that public awareness onto people, right? We need to teach them because they don't know. I think it should be part of a driving test. I think there needs to be more, done to help that, but they don't know. We do, and we encounter them all the time. Make sure you raise that awareness.
So yeah, raising awareness for this is great, but I also don't think it's supposed to be on a driving test. Do I really like people to be self-sufficient? Yes, I do. Does that mean if people were self-sufficient, I would do less work? Probably. But at the end of the day, people buy vehicles now. They put fuel in it, and that's it. They take it to a shop, they get that fixed. If something goes wrong, they call someone like us. What I really think we should be raising awareness about this is stay in your vehicle. If you break down on the side of especially the highway, stay in your vehicle. I know we work on the side of the road all the time, and I don't know about you, plain guy, but myself, I always have to say, hey, buddy, stand on this side of the car. Don't stand on that side of the car. Don't walk behind the bed while I'm loading a car in case that thing breaks and I don't want to see you getting run over. That kind of stuff. Here, get in my truck. Just sit there. Let me load your car so I only have to worry about me being outside of your vehicle because I am trained to have my head on a swivel and looking for those people that are looking to bowl a strike with me and my tow truck.
Yeah, so, we're trained to tow your vehicle, not be your babysitter.
Yes. And then if we have to now worry about you, myself, and your vehicle and oncoming traffic, it's just one more thing I don't want to have to worry about. And I can understand why some people are even letting the passengers ride in their disabled vehicle on the back of a flatbed. You just stay in that car. I'll pick you up. I'll get you off the highway and we'll deal with you at the next on-ramp. I can see where that comes from. Is that right? In my eyes, probably not. But at the end of the day, it would still be safer than having them get out on the side of the highway and then you try to direct them into either your tow truck or a taxi cab or something. And it's stuff like this is when stuff goes down on the side of the road, people have no idea their surroundings. They don't.
No,
right?
No, that is a huge problem. People that are on the road are already so distraught over what is going on that they're oblivious to traffic flying by at 100+ kilometers an hour. They're, because, it comes back to that. We need to have empathy too, because we deal with this on a daily basis. So for us, you get out, you're looking at traffic, you're checking everything out, you're planning out plan A, plan B, plan C on how you're going to tow or recover that vehicle. We're prepared. They are not. This has probably never happened to them before or has happened once or twice in their life. So they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. So you're right. Have them stay in their vehicle. Nothing worse. How many times do you see that? Busy road, you pull up, you haven't even fully reversed yet, and they're standing next to their driver's door on the line, waiting to talk to you and tell you what's going on. Get back in your vehicle. I seen tow trucks, actually, I don't remember what province it was from. They had a sticker on their back window, I believe it was on a flatbed, that said, stay in your vehicle. So when the tow truck pulled up, whether the general public would see it or not, but when the tow truck would pull up, it kind of gave them that awareness of, stay in your vehicle. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to be out on the road. We don't need both of us on the road. Let's talk, let's formulate a plan, and then we'll get you to safety. So you are right. There's much awareness that needs to be raised. Regardless of what you say, I still believe there should be some general automotive knowledge on some sort of driving test. And you're right. Maybe it doesn't have to be that your battery light means your charging system has a fault, not that your battery's dead, but maybe we could include something of stay in your vehicle. If you break down, this is what you do. Right. My other fear that I have to this is we hear horror stories in Ontario of, prices to get towed off the highway and not having a choice and being forced into tow trucks. There has been, major programs put out and major awareness about you have the right to choose your company. You wonder if that fear of being gouged, because of the horror stories that we hear on the news, and horror stories we're going to hear more of in a little bit, would cause somebody to go, I don't want to call a tow truck. I just need a boost, right? If we were respected more across the province and the country for being professionals and having that, I'm not going to get bent over sideways if I call a tow truck out onto this highway, would that eliminate what I would call in this situation a needless death?
We really need to see a video of this, because being broken down in the left-hand lane and a Ford Mustang saying that they were outside of the vehicle boosting, was there another vehicle there to boost them? Did they have a battery pack? We don't know this, and from what I've found online, there isn't that much information regarding it. Mm-hmm. But even with that said, it's okay. before I was a tow truck driver, I drove all my vehicles at one point without brakes. Like I blew a brake line and I drove it to the shop safely because I had a knee brake and I knew what I was doing. I made sure I was going at a low volume of traffic type of day, not on the highway, but we've all done it, some sort of thing. Like my power steering pump blew in the Tim Hortons drive-through when I was towing my one house trailer back home, and I made the last 20-minute drive home with no power steering. Like stuff happens out on the road and people just want to get home. Calling a tow truck is inconvenient. You never wake up in the day and say, today would be a great day to call a tow truck and just go through all that hassle. I'm looking forward to doing that today. No one has ever woken up and said that. And if you have, I don't know what you're smoking, but I want some.
No, it's true.
So I can understand why they're trying to be self-sufficient on the side of the road and figure their own stuff out before calling for help. But the help is there. And there's people you can call, even if that was calling 911, because in that situation, that is your own emergency. 911 has the steps that they can take. They can send an officer out. People like those red and blue lights. They normally slow down for them because they don't want to get a ticket. And that officer, once he gets there, he can assist, or sometimes he could even change that tire that's flat for you and get you back on your way. Or he can get a tow truck to come out. He can just provide more clarity in the situation that you are in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, again, a lot of this comes back to if you want to be self-sufficient like that as a customer, great. Try that in your driveway. When it comes to 400 highways, this is no joke. This is, a huge risk that drivers take. The general public doesn't need to take it as well. Guys and girls out on the road, remember, take care of your customers. Make sure your customers are safe. Raise the best awareness that you can, whether it be to stay in your vehicle or what a battery light actually means. At the end of the day, not only are we trying to get home safe, we hate to see accidents like this happen on the highway. And honestly, I was a little disappointed. I think that the OPP, while talking about this, could have raised awareness for, like you said, staying in your vehicle when you need emergency services. I get everything, happened quick. The post went out pretty quick. So, that stuff may be missed. I just hope there's some push for it in the future. That being said, G, it leads us into, we talked about, they like the red and blue lights. They tend to move over for them. Unfortunately, we have more ugly coming, for the towing industry when it comes to people being hit. But hopefully, again, something to change lights. So out in Vancouver Island tow truck drivers call for improved safety lights on trucks. Victoria, BC, when Dave LaQuest, I cannot pronounce that properly, owner of West Shore Towing, got a call Friday afternoon that one of his drivers had been hit by a passing vehicle. He thought the worst, which I'm sure any owner out there listening, if you've gotten that call, your heart must sink. He goes on to say, my heart kind of dropped because you don't know. The driver was hit by a car on Piet Road in Langford as he was exiting his vehicle. He was taken to hospital with serious injuries, but was released later that night. Now the industry wants to see change. We're trying to get the province to allow tow trucks to have rear-facing red lights, said LaQuest. Currently, tow trucks are mandated by the province to have amber lights on both sides of the vehicle, front and back. Advocates say those amber lights are too commonly used on roadways and drivers are ignoring them. We are advocating for the use of a combination of flashing lights, not strobing lights, said Adrian Scoville, president and CEO of the Automotive Retailers Association. Likely red and white or yellow and red, something that says this is not a traffic cone. This is a human being at work. I think it's a great article. It was found over on the Vancouver Island CTV News. Thankfully, the driver is okay. He was released. Obviously, he's got some recovery ahead. But it brings up that topic. Is the general public being desensitized to flashing amber lights? Now, what I mean by that is anyone driving down the road, if you're driving down the road listening to this now, especially on a major highway, how many flashing lights are you going to see in a 15 to 20 kilometer range. You are going to see construction road crews. You are going to see God knows what utility vehicle is driving down the highway with his strobe light on. I'm not just picking on towers here. This is a problem that goes wider than just the towing industry. But you will see flashing lights constantly. And the one thing in the human behavior is the more you see something, the more normal it becomes. And the more normal it becomes, the more you don't see it, right? The desensitization to the amber lights is a real problem. I don't think this is just a matter of changing lights. I think that is a great direction to start. I am a big believer on tow trucks having rear-facing other color lights. I don't know if red, blue, I'm sure there's studies that can go to prove what's more efficient, but I think rear-facing lights, we don't need front-facing. I really don't believe that, but rear-facing lights of a different color, whether that be red, blue. I've always said I wanted purple. I know it's reserved in most places for funeral processions. I think purple is a nice touch because it's a mix of red and blue without having that full enforcement when you come up on it, meaning we're not, you don't start to wander into that impersonation of an enforcement vehicle.
So we've got a couple of tow trucks, and the truck that I run all the time, it's got one LED node on it on the passenger side that is a red flashing strobe light. And our other tow trucks got two rear red flashing strobe lights. And both the bar that has the two red flashing strobe lights are on a completely different switch, right? So you can have just the two rear red flashing lights going on by themselves with two front facing amber lights going off. Just so like if you're in a parking lot and you don't want your full bar lit up, or if you're hooking up in the subdivision at night, you don't have the side light going on, but you're still making yourself visible. With that, you put your four ways on. Now you got four red flashing lights on that bar. My whole time running that truck, I have not noticed a difference between truck to truck. The only time I have noticed a difference is if I am loading with a flatbed and there's something on the bed already, and it doesn't matter if you have a stationary headache rack or one that moves with the bed. As soon as you put something on that bed that's not a small cart, you can't see that light anymore. Right. At least with a wrecker, you've got a little bit more flexibility where while you're hooking up your vehicle, if you got to put dollies on it or not, you don't have to lift that vehicle up, so people can still see that light bar over top of whatever you're hooking up, as long as it's not like a cube van or something.
Right.
And that's the big thing. Doesn't matter what kind of lights you put on that truck, eventually people aren't going to realize it. Because there's so many different styles of tow trucks out there. It's not, oh, you see a Ford Explorer show up, oh, that's probably a cop, and then you got to look for the little bars on the top to see if it's a cop or not. We don't have that. We don't have that fear factor. We're not a big red truck. Like, people can't tell if we are a tow truck or not until they can see it. Especially when you see a lot of the trucks running the dualies with under bumpers with just that small little bar on the roof. How do people know that's just not a contractor's truck? There is nothing from a distance to see that that's a contractor's truck or a tow truck. And that's where I really like your purple light idea, because you don't see purple lights at all. As soon as we put different color lights on our tow trucks, is that going to stop people running into us? No, it's not. No. But it will also help the education. We can then push yellow or amber, and purple lights means that's a tow truck. That is us. We are outside working on the road. But if we don't go that purple light idea and we go something like a red or a blue light, there needs to be a mandate somewhere to where if you are driving down the road in your tow truck with your lights on, you can get a fine. Because as soon as we are allowed red or blue lights, regardless, some guys are going to take that too far. And that's just how the industry is. I know.
Now Saskatchewan has introduced blue lights, right? Saskatchewan introduced blue lights, I want to say, about a year ago.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's a tough one. You talk about how, we need to differentiate ourselves. And I kind of agree to a certain extent, because, certain lights you see down the highway, you don't have to be as aware of people out of their vehicles, where we are 90% of the time outside of our vehicles, right? While we're doing at least our hookup. But I wonder too, to play devil's advocate, Shouldn't people just be moving over? Doesn't matter what the lights are. Why do they have to be blue, red, purple, green? You know, you see flashing lights, you slow down, you move over. I don't understand how this is such a hard concept to get through to the general public. So, you know, I know I'm the one that brought this up and said, you know, we need to, you know, we're desensitized to it, but how do we fix that? Do we really think that lights will change it? Again, I'm just playing the other side of this.
Are you a tow truck operator looking for a great company to grow with? Are you currently living in Canada? Well, Strong Arm Recovery wants to hear from you. With a large modern fleet and competitive wages, Strong Arm Recovery is changing the way tow truck operators are taken care of. With national expansion on the rise, they are actively searching for franchisees across the country. There's also current openings in both their Ottawa, Ontario, and Calgary, Alberta locations for operators. Please visit strongarm-group.com for more information and how to apply. A lot of people have no idea what's going on around them at any given time, and that is a bad thing. It's I think it's got a lot to do with cell phones and just people's mentality nowadays. I know, as much as I'm saying this, I know I'm just as bad. I think we all are, especially with us. I've sometimes called us professional distracted drivers because I'm not sure about you guys listening or watching. I've got 2 phones and a dispatching software tablet thing in my truck as well. Plus, then you got the radio. Then you got to worry about your dispatching texting you calls or calling you, plus the dispatching software going off, plus just paying attention while you're going down the road. You got a lot of things to worry about driving down the road as a tow truck driver. But as the general motoring public, you're driving down the road, you had a bad day at work, you got your tunes cranked up, and you are just tunnel vision, get me home so I can crack open that beer. And you've driven that road 100, thousands of times. And all of a sudden, boom, there's a tow truck. Well, there wasn't a tow truck there yesterday, and you don't think anything of it, and you go whizzing past down the highway. It happens. Shit happens. And as much as I want to say we need the public to learn, we need to take the steps ourselves. And I'm not saying every accident that's ever happened with a tow truck driver is all our fault, because it's not. But there are steps that we can do. A lot of people run traffic cones on their trucks. Put those out, right? Make sure you've got your legal high vis on. In Canada, it's 11X. So the 2 stripes at the front and the X at the back. Make sure you have those reflective stripes around your legs or your ankles as well. Make sure your beacon light is on with your 360-degree field of view with that. Make yourself be seen, regardless if that's throwing cones out or not. I know, oh, well, then I got to take cones off my truck, and that takes more time, and that's more time in the danger zone. That may be true, but if you can put a cone out 50 feet behind you or 100 feet behind you, and if you hear that cone, I'm not sure about you, but I know what sound that cone makes when it gets ran over. Yep. And it's a very distinctive sound. And you know to get the fuck out of there.
No, it's true. I think any operator who sits back and you know will complain that, oh, the media or the public needs to smarten up, you know, they need to stop running into us, If you've ever attended a scene without high vis clothing or without full high vis clothing, or don't lay out cones on every single job, I think it weakens your ability to make that argument, because, you know, we need to do everything to protect ourselves first. Is that going to stop the problems, like you said? No, but we need to take the steps accordingly to help, you know, build that awareness, make ourselves visible. And then if that still isn't working, now we can say, look, every operator that steps out of his truck is wearing his reflective gear. He's not wearing a wife beater and sandals, as we talked about before, right? He is, you know, laying out cones to identify the work zone. He is doing all of that. And we are still getting run over at a pace of this many per week, this many per month, whatever the rate may be. Now we need to look at changes. We don't know. And I don't want to blame the driver in this situation, but we don't know, right? I seen a photo. The door was open. It looked to be a side street. It wasn't a highway that this Vancouver operator was hit. It was a side street, but we don't know. You know, it looked like it was daytime. I don't know if that's when it happened or if that's when the photo was taken. We don't know any of the details. All we can do is take the best steps possible to protect ourselves, because no one else is going to. It is our job to protect ourselves, and then look at other options. I believe the lights again could help. I believe they could have an effect, but I do, like you, I don't think there's a be all end all, right? I would like to see some change. I would like to see the awareness. We're starting to see it. There's campaigns everywhere about slow down, move over laws, right? I do believe it's having an effect. In the short time that I took off from towing, about a year and a half, I noticed a major difference when I came back to the vehicles that were slowing down and moving over. Was it all of them? No. Will it ever be all of them? No. But there is progress being made. I do believe people like Adrian Scoville of the Automotive Retailers Association are doing wonderful things in trying to bring this to attention and bring more awareness. I think that's, you know, the next step. Where we are, they've been making good steps. But again, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard and provide our own safety if we want to increase the reputability, you know what I mean? If we want to be taken seriously, we need to take the proper steps.
As much as we all like to get out there and get stuff done, roadsides mandate it to where if any part of that vehicle is over the white line of the shoulder, is you can't service that vehicle until you get the lane shut down beside you. And that is there to cover their ass and your ass. If, as much as I would say, oh yeah, but it'll take that police officer an hour to get there, and I don't have time for that, it'll just get the vehicle off the road faster. If that lane was shut down for you to work, just like a construction worker would have to do, these kind of things wouldn't happen on the highway.
It would happen less.
It would happen a lot less. And that, at the end of the day, that's all that is passing the buck. Oh, well, in our policies, it says you have to do this, and you didn't, right? But the policy is there for a reason, because that's the safest way to do the job. Mm-hmm. And we all know the real world and the book world are completely different, and we just need to get out there and get stuff done. And I don't want to be that guy to show up to that mother with 2 kids in the car saying, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for an hour until a police officer gets here to shut down that lane.
Yeah, that's what's tough. There's, like you said, there's you know, we have that joke that there's a manual on how things should be done, and then there's a manual on how things actually do get done. And you can put in place whatever policy you want. Some of them aren't practical. A lot of the people writing these policies couldn't tell you the difference between an NRC and a Miller. And, you know, yes, that doesn't apply to the policy, but until you can wrap your head around the towing industry, it's hard to bring out stuff and have it be truly effective. We talk about, we need to do the steps to protect ourselves. This is a great article. There's been a lot of news articles we're covering in this, guys. We're kind of getting caught up on what's been happening around, you know, the province, around the country. I get a kick out of this one. Tow being towed. It's not every day that you see a tow truck being taken away by another tow truck. Clearly, whoever wrote this article at the miltonnow.ca doesn't work around tow trucks often, because it's not that uncommon of a sight. But the reason for this one is becoming more and more common, and it's becoming a major issue. We talk about professionalism. Milton tow driver caught going 100 in a 50 zone. That's what Milton residents got to see along Ontario Street South at the Allendale parking lot on Monday afternoon. The Halton Regional Police Service, HRPS, says the driver was caught going 104 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone. Fuck. Literally. What makes the traffic stop even more alarming, and this is ridiculous, is that this is reportedly the driver's 4th stunt driving charge since 2019. 4 stunt driving charges since 2019.
I'll say it again. Fuck.
Who allows this guy to still have a driver's license? I don't know what the details of this. Hey, for all we know, he was told to expedite by the police for a baby locked in the car. I'm not saying it's not possible. It wasn't reported as such. And I can almost guarantee that if you were told to expedite by the police, they were not pulling you over on your way there. And even if they were, what are you doing 104 in a 50 zone? How? And I don't even know if this guy is insured, but if you are, how the hell were you insured on a tow truck? We can't find operators to get insurance with tickets. This guy's got 3 impounds previous to this for stunt driving, and he is driving, a tow truck. You, sir, I don't know who you are. I wish I knew who you were. I wish they named you in the article, because you, sir, should never drive a fucking Walmart scooter, let alone a tow vehicle down the road. This is ridiculous. We talk about wanting to build up the professionalism of the industry, and this asshole is doing 104 kilometers in a 50 zone. We all speed. I get it. That 20 over, that 15 over safe zone, that is a thing. Maybe not in a 50 zone, but come on, for the love of God, guys. These are the stories that knock down any progress that we try and make in professionalism in the towing industry.
And this isn't new. We've been seeing stories like this for years of tow trucks getting caught speeding and or racing each other, stuff like that. And it needs to stop. It really does. There is no reason to be going that fast, regardless if you're in a tow truck or not. I get it. We sometimes get that Superman complex, whether that is put on by ourselves or put on by the people we are coming to, because we come to bad situations and we get those people out of those bad situations. So in their eyes, we are, what's the one term, roadway angels or something? I've heard people call us before. I don't know. And, but there is arrive alive.
Drive sober.
Yeah. But if you are dangerously driving to get there, you are lowering your risk of actually getting there. Just like this guy. He didn't get there. Why?
No.
Because he was speeding and he got pulled over and he could have easily killed someone.
This wasn't speeding. This was fucking flying.
Do you know what happens if you blow a tire doing 100 kilometers an hour, like a front steer tire? Bad things happen. Now, that road was a 50 kilometer an hour road. That road is not designed for vehicles to travel down it doing 100 kilometers an hour, regardless. It could be that there's a school there, or it could just be a residential area. Now, if your tire comes off your vehicle while doing 100K down the road in that residential area, that can cause some serious damage. I've had a tire come off on me on the 407 before of my personal pickup, and you should have seen the damage that did to another vehicle just because of the rate of speed. Anything can happen at any time. And going blatantly disregarding the speed limit like this driver has done
over and over again
4 times now is just idiotic. And I don't say that lightly, because I don't really like that word idiot, because, well, we've got a lot of them nowadays, but this guy is just, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, you're probably not going to listen to it anymore, but smarten the fuck up. Honestly, just, I don't want to be your dad. Just smarten the fuck up. And I hope you're not getting behind the wheel of a tow truck again, because that's.
I hope he's not getting behind the wheel of any vehicle ever again. That, it kind of begs the question: at what point do you, revoke permanently somebody's, driving privileges? 4 times since 2019. 4 times. That's average 1 a year that he has been. That's not the times that he probably hasn't been caught, right? Either that, or this guy is, has the worst luck ever, and the one time that he goes that fast, he gets caught. Willing to bet that's not the case, right? We talk about these stereotypes that there are in the towing industry. We've mentioned it, a bunch of times now, and how we are trying to correct this and build this professionalism. Who let this guy behind the wheel of a tow truck? You take equal as much blame, right? Unless this was an owner operator of his own truck, which is possible. I'm not saying it isn't. If that is a company truck and this driver came to you and has 3 stunt driving, but brings you, I don't care how many accidents he brings you, because of these reckless speeds, I can only assume he was heading to an accident. If not, I don't have words. If not, I don't have words. But if you were an owner that knew that this driver has this kind of driving record, somehow find a way to get him insured or didn't insure him and gave this gentleman the keys to a tow truck, you are equally stupid and equally as responsible for that. This has to end. We look at the speed kills, the stories of news articles of drivers getting impounded for this, and we're there to tow them. We're trying to be professionals. We're trying to raise awareness. And then you go and pull the stupidity like this, 104 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone. You, sir, should lose your license for life. You are a disgrace to anybody on the road, and especially the towing industry. Tell me how I really feel.
Yeah, I do apologize to people. We're not holding anything back on this episode, especially when it comes to something like this, because
I'm not apologizing.
He got charged for street racing because he was doing 54 over and it posted 50. Now, what if he didn't get pulled over and a kid walked out in front of a parked vehicle? It'd be a completely different story and we'd still be talking about it. But we wouldn't be able to shit on him the same way because someone would have died. Mm-hmm. And just like we talked about in the previous segment, or maybe it was even this segment, doesn't take long for things to change.
Yeah.
Especially going, that road's not designed for that speed. Like, it doesn't take much.
No. That guy, like I said, I hope you're banned at Walmart from driving a scooter. It goes that far. I really hope, because you shouldn't be behind the wheel of anything. So again, loaded, packed, unfortunately a lot of tragedy between the pedestrian killed on the 401 and hoping to raise awareness for, don't get out of your vehicle on the highway, wait for emergency services. To the Vancouver tow operator, we wish the best to you. We hope you make a speedy recovery and everything goes back, as normal as it can be for you. We hate to hear these stories. I hope we can use it as a learning curve. I hope that there can be change that comes across the industry because of it. Unfortunately, most laws are written in blood, and this one might have a bit of yours in it. Hate to say it, it is what it is. And guys, raise the standard, raise the bar. We are professionals. Yes, you speed. Yes, stuff happens. But stories like this driver with 4 stunt drives within a year or within 4 years is absolutely unacceptable. We are trying to be better. We are trying to change the way tow operators are looked at. We cannot have stories or people like this part of the progress we're trying to make. The Towing Life podcast wouldn't be possible without the help of our amazing sponsors.
With heavy and light service vehicles in both Ottawa, Ontario and Calgary, Alberta, Strong Arm Recovery has all your needs covered. Franchises available across Canada.
So support those that support your favorite podcast and visit them at strongarm-group.com. If you guys have any of these stories, any of these, local, province-wide, country-wide, North America-wide questions, subjects, anything that you want covered, guys, again, don't hesitate. Send them over to us. You can find us on Facebook at the Towing Life Podcast. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. We love to hear from you guys. We are going to cover more questions and comments in the upcoming episodes. We have started to put some together. You guys have been phenomenal. Don't forget, if you are on the YouTube side, subscribe to the channel. It really helps our growth. YouTube has been a great part of the show.
Ring the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell down below. Set the reminders. You'll know when new episodes are out. We are available everywhere that you get your podcasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all of that. Let's help raise awareness. The Towing Life podcast is built by tow ops for tow operators. We want to be the voice. We want to help you guys get those stories out there. We want to help raise awareness for any problems that we may be facing across the country, across the continent. So yeah, don't be afraid to drop us a line. We're friendly. We don't bite.
Too hard, at least. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, podcast, wherever you find us. And it's been a good episode. I've enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care.
Bye-bye.